Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? If you put something in the chat, let me know if you can hear me. I see about 8 thumbs up. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Miss Nancy. She said she can see and hear me. Hi, everybody. Welcome to my first live chat. I have no idea what we're going to chat about, but we are going to chat for a little while today. After I had the mishap of someone stealing my information and going live and having thousands of people watching, I said, I might need to check into this live view thing. So, hello and welcome to my first live chat. Maybe after this one, I'll do lots more because I won't be afraid. My daughter is helping me out because, y'all, I'm not good with this technology stuff. So I have her as my moderator, and I also have her on the phone so she can say, Mom, slow down. You got to answer some questions. So I got my backup here to help me out. Am I missing something? Oh, don't be nervous. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I hope everybody is having an amazing season this year, even with all of the rain, the cold weather, the dry weather, the heat, the dry weather, the heat again, the rain again, the heat again. Now, it's been a crazy year for gardening, but I'm hoping you had a good season this year. I know we ending the season for some of us. I take that back. Some of us. I hear Texas is still hot. But for some of us, we're on the fall end of the season where those summer crops are about gone and we're putting in those fall crops. That's if you went ahead and grew your own or went to your nursery to get some of those. But we're slowing down and getting ready for the cool weather and getting ready to move indoors. So hopefully, some of you will be gardening indoors with me this year. If you're going to garden indoors with me, can you give me thumbs up? Is that something we can do, or say yes or a heart or something like that? Y'all help me out. I'm not good with this technology stuff. Thank you, Miss Nancy. All right. Oh my goodness, there's so many people. I can't call all the names out and I'll probably mess something up. But thanks for the hearts. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the thumbs up. And thanks for those a month ago that helped me figure out that something was wrong with the channel and we were able to get it back up. Hi, little tech girl. Oh, I'm glad to see you. Broke Farmer, Rena. Oh my goodness, so many names. So many names. So let's have some fun together here. I saw some people were putting where they were calling in from, and put the state or the country that you're calling in from. I saw Alaska. I saw Texas.
Let's see. We got a question here.
Got a question?
Yes. So I'm seeing
Illinois, Florida, Houston, Alaska, New Jersey, Florida, Texas, Tennessee, Misty Hills. Is that North Carolina? Misty Hills, North Carolina, Louisiana. Believe it or not, y'all, I've been to all of these places that you guys have put on here. Chicago burbs, yes, I've been to all of these places except for Alaska, but it is on my list. Indiana, Seattle, West Virginia. You got a question for me?
Yes. So from, let's see, Debbie says, when setting up new beds, how do you decide the direction to place the bed?
Okay. Can y'all hear my daughter talking, or do I need to repeat? If somebody will text that in there for me as I'm learning. Okay, you can hear her. Good. So when I'm setting my beds up, I think about the sun, and it's been a learning curve for me. And so I am kind of north, right? So I'm in zone 6B. I'm in southwest Ohio. So I'm at the bottom of the state in Ohio. And so when I'm in the middle of my summer months, I still don't have sun directly overhead. The sun is still just to the south of me, just a little bit. And because of that, initially I set my beds up where the sun will come across it this way, right? And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, it'll get sun as it comes across the bed, right? All the way over into the evening. And what I found out when I set the beds up this way with the sun coming up and over like that evening side of the bed got the best sun and everything grew great on that side. But on the morning sun side, it didn't grow so well. So last year, I turned about half of the beds in my garden so that the bed gets full sun in the morning and it gets full sun all the way over into the afternoon, well, depending on where it is in the garden. And I'm finding that they grow better for me in that situation. Now, I still have the southern end of my bed that gets the most sun, and I'm always going to have a little more there, but everything else on those trellis grows better for me that way. And I'm hoping it's going to grow better for me that way as well for like my tomato plants. Um, if it's not a trellising, or if you don't have to trellis in any way or stake in any way, you should be fine no matter the direction, as long as the trellises are not blocking and shading out your beds. Hopefully, I answered that question. It all depends on where you live. Now, like if you lived south of us, like south of the equator, everything is probably just backwards of what I just said.
All right, we have one more question here from Marcia. It says, I have spiraling swirls on my pepper leaves. How do I treat them?
Um, so that could be some type of disease. There's a couple different ways to treat disease, y'all, and I'm not the best, by the way. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm horrible when it comes to really treating for disease. Um, I know what is it, neem oil? Other folks here in the chat here, let's help each other out. I'm not an expert. I've been gardening a long time, but I'm not an expert. I learn as I go. And I normally don't treat for my peppers. But when you get that swirling spot on your leaves, it usually means there's something going on with the plant. The only type of protection I've ever given any of my plants, besides when I'm trying to get rid of those squash worms and that kind of stuff, but I've used peroxide before in my garden, and I've used neem oil. That's it. That's the only two things I've ever used. Somebody said it could be leaf miners. Is that how you say that word? Leaf. Is there a way to treat it, Mr. KG? Is there a way to treat it? Um, I see Cleveland, Ohio on here as well. Clarksville, Nashville, um, peroxide. Okay. 1 tablespoon per gallon to spray both sides of the leaves. All right, so I got lucky then because peroxide is the only thing I've ever used in my garden. And I use it actually on my tomato plants when I see something very similar to that.
All right, we have another question here.
Okay.
From Nancy. Do you use frost covers on your beds to extend the planting season?
Yes and no. I have always intended to do that in the past years, and I bought all the right materials to do it, and y'all, I never did it. But this year, I do have the Vigo Garden greenhouse cover, which is like a frost cover that I am going to be using that in one of my beds this year. I think it's a 3.5 by 6.5, 17-inch metal raised bed that has the greenhouse cover on it. And it is just for that. It's supposed to raise the temperature up inside the bed. And I have Korean radish in there. I have cabbage. I have turnip greens, I have a little bit of lettuce, and I have mustard greens. And I just planted everything out in the last couple of weeks. And we're going to see how long we can have that bed hold up throughout the winter. Good questions. I see Rochester Hills, Michigan.
Okay, we got another question
But
from
just
Hockey
one
Mom
question,
48.
real quick. I see Broke Farmer on here saying that the leaf miners won't hurt the plant, just the leaves. So there you go, y'all. It won't hurt the plant, just the leaves. So if we're talking about pepper plants, we don't care about them leaves, y'all. We want the fruit. So something else to keep in mind. Sorry, babe, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, all good. The question from Hockey Mom 48. Do you water each pocket of the green stalks in the beginning until the plants are established?
If I'm starting from seeds, yes. And only if I'm starting from seeds. If I'm putting transplants in, usually if you're putting a transplant in, you usually, putting a good 2 or 3, or maybe not 3, but at least 2 inches below the soil with the root system. And with that, I usually just water from the top. I only water the pockets if I think my little gray discs are clogged. Then I'll water the pockets just so I don't have to take it apart to put it back together to clean it out. But if I'm starting from seeds, I water from the pocket until the plant's at least 4 inches, really established before I only water from the top. Another great question. I saw baking soda as another option for treating, and I thought there was something else. Neem oils on there as well. I have a question. I see it from Misty Hill. How do you preserve mustard greens and other greens? Believe it or not, y'all, I did a video earlier this year on how to can leafy greens. And I was actually canning, I think it was turnip greens or collard greens one. I can't remember which one, but I got a video out there. And there is a way to do it. There is an approved recipe on how to can those greens. It's super easy. You wilt the greens, you put them in a jar, boiling water on them. I just don't remember the time. I'll have to look the time up again. And then I put a little bit of salt in mine, put the lids on, and you have to pressure can though. You cannot water bath can. It has to be pressure can. And I had a couple people asking me, can you go ahead and put fat in those greens? And I believe the answer is yes. But I also believe you would have to preserve it a little longer if you're going to put the fat in versus just putting leafy greens by themselves. So I'm still researching that to find out like how long would you have to do it if you added fat. But canning them without the fat, it's still, they're done. The greens are done. All you need to do is add whatever seasoning you want to when you're ready to eat them. And that's typically how I can.
Okay, we have another question here from Marcia. Do you use insect covers on your 15 green stalks?
15, soon to be 17, y'all. Um, I have them. I think I have probably 5 insect netting covers on them. But just to be perfectly honest, y'all, I don't use them. I'll use them in the spring when I'm first starting my season out, because in my mind, if I lose everything in the spring, it messes up the whole year. So I will use the insect netting in the spring when, everything's just starting to bloom. Them little white cabbage moths are buzzing all around. I will use them then. The frost covers, I will only put them on if it's a super heavy frost. Most of the things that I have out during that time of the year can handle frost. So your broccoli, your cabbage, your cauliflower, your mustard greens, turnip greens, cauliflower, what is it? Your Napa cabbage, so your like Chinese cabbage, Asian cabbages, your radish, your lettuce, all of those type things can handle a light frost. Carrots can handle a light frost. Even your what else? What else? I said radishes. All of that stuff can handle a light frost. So unless it's going to be a super heavy frost, I'm not putting frost covers on. Now, if you get that late frost where you have already put out your summer stuff, like your peppers and your tomatoes and some of those type things, and you know that heavy frost is coming, then I will put a sheet or some type of frost covering on if it's one of those super late frosts. But typically, I don't worry too much about heavy frost unless that frost comes in late April, early May. But insect netting only in the spring. I should have some up right now, and I don't. And I know I'm paying for it, y'all. I'm paying for it.
Okay, let's see. We have another one here. Have you noticed a difference between the various brands of raised beds you've used in your garden? And this is from Debbie.
Yes, I have. So I started growing in the ground, just right into the native soil, um, 17 years ago. It's been a long time, y'all. 17? Yeah, 17 years ago, almost 18 years ago. Um, and my garden did horrible. And so then I started using 6-inch raised beds, and then I went to 8 inches, and then I went to 12 inches, and then I went back down to 8-inch and 6-inch raised beds. But those were wooden raised beds. I tried to use compost hauled in from a local place where I could buy compost and garden soil, and it was full of weeds. And so I stopped using that. And then that's when I went to 100% potting soil. And it's expensive. It is an expensive way to garden. I tried mixing my own soil down the road early on, and this also didn't work for me. I just don't have time to be mixing it. I just buy it in a bag and open it when I need it. Um, so I thought wooden raised beds were the answer outside of container gardening. I thought that was the answer. Um, I couldn't afford the metal raised beds at the time. At the time, I had a daughter in college in another country and other stuff going on, and we were taking care of a house full of young kiddos because I used to be a foster caregiver. I just didn't have time for that, and I couldn't afford one of those beds. So after I got my first set of metal raised beds, I initially started with the 17-inch metal raised bed, and I got the best harvest I've ever had in my raised beds. So then I invested in the 11-inch raised beds, and they still did better than my wooden raised beds, but they didn't do as well as the 17-inch raised beds. So if I had all the money in the world and I could buy any kind of raised bed that I wanted, I would grow in the 17-inch raised beds. I feel like anything more than that, you're spending too much time trying to fill it up to get it to the top of the bed where you're really going to be growing. Whether you're putting tree limbs, twigs, firewood, whatever you put in the bottom, you're spending so much time just trying to build it up to get to the level where you really need soil. But to me, the 17-inch was perfect. I could put a little bit of brown matter, a little bit of green matter in there, and still have plenty of room to grow. And I had my best year ever in that 17-inch raised bed this year. Y'all, are
All
y'all
right,
having
moving to
fun?
the next question.
Oh, wow. The questions are coming in fast. Okay, good, good, good.
We have one from Lisa. She wants to know what is the easiest thing to try first for the first time canning?
First time canning, something super easy. Ooh, there's a lot of easy things out there. The question would be first is, are we talking water bath canning or are we talking pressure canning? Water bath canning is by far the easiest way to can, but you can only water bath can things that have high acidity. I always say acidity, but it's got to be like fruits, jams, jellies, tomatoes, anything you're going to pickle. Those are the type things that you can water bath can, and they're super super easy, y'all. I mean, mix it up, throw it in a jar, and you let it seal for 15, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever the recipe calls for. So canning tomatoes, super easy. Pickles are easy if you want to use a pickle mix. Um, Fermented pickles taste better. I'm still trying to master fermentation, so I'm not going to say I know how to do it. I tried. I didn't do it right. So I got to keep working on that. But if you buy one of the pickle mixes, you throw your pickles in or your cucumbers in with the pickle mix, throw it in a water bath canner, and you're good in like 10 or 15 minutes or something like that. Tomatoes, cucumbers, jellies and jams, applesauce is super easy as well. If you're trying for the first time in a pressure canner, I mean, y'all, the sky's the limit. Everything's easy. I mean, you don't necessarily have to wilt everything. Some things you can raw pack. In other words, cut the vegetables up. Raw pack just means putting them in without cooking them first or without blanching them first. Throw them in a jar, put them in the pressure canner, and the pressure canner does all the work for you. It just, it's got to get really warm. It's got to get that pressure up. But it's so easy. I used to think canning was super hard as well. And I would only do water bath canning because that's what my grandmother did. I did what my grandmother did, water bath canned everything, to the point where I didn't even know the only reason she was putting vinegar in her green beans. I thought that was just the recipe, but no, she was putting it in there because she was water bath canning green beans. So dilly beans, the only way you can water bath can green beans is to put like the vinegar and that kind of stuff in. Now, there are other methods of canning out there. I know the Amish does everything in a water bath canner, but I don't know that. I don't know how to do that safely. So I always follow the Ball Book of Canning. And if it says I can do it, then I usually follow it pretty close. Pretty. I might be off just a little bit. For the most part, I follow it. Pressure canning potatoes is another easy one. I do that all the time. Get a few extra potatoes, throw them in a jar, throw boiling water, or you can put in beef broth or chicken broth, and that can's super easy as well. Somebody's saying jelly. That is another good one too. I see a question.
Okay, so we have quite a few questions coming in pretty fast
Okay.
now.
All right. I'll go faster. Y'all. I like to talk to my computer and my cameras. Okay. I'll try to go quickly.
So we have a question from Hockey Mom 48.
Okay.
How many collard plants do you plant? And it's just me and my son. I believe I'm down the road from you in Middletown.
Okay. It depends. And so you said collard greens, right? That was collards?
Collard plants.
Collards. Okay. So for collards, if I'm doing them in my green stalk, I would probably plant at least 3 tiers, and I would put 2 to 3 plants in each tier. So what is that? 3 times 6 is 18. So 36 in a green stalk. If I'm growing in the ground. And the reason why I'm saying you need a few more than just like, you need more than 9, you need more than 18, because when you harvest, you'll have to wait to harvest again. So in my mind, I'm thinking I need enough to harvest now while the other ones are growing. So the amount that I'm going to give you is really going to be like succession planning. If I harvest these are growing, right? When I harvest these are growing. So I would say at a minimum 20 plants. And that's on the low end, y'all. I would probably do a lot more than that, just because what if the seed doesn't germinate? If you're buying transplants, you have a better chance of it, surviving than waiting to see if a seed's going to come up or not. But I would say at a minimum 20 plants, and that's if you're not trying to save.
Okay, so we have another question here from Rhonda. Can you talk about how you transition some plants from outdoor to your grow tent? I'd like to move my green stalk indoor to my grow tent soon. I'm not sure which plants will grow well.
Okay. The only plants I bring in from outdoors into my indoor grow space um, traditionally has been just my peppers and a tomato plant or two. Everything else I start indoors in my green stalk. So for the peppers, I usually wait till that first frost is getting ready to come in, and I cut them all the way back, all the way back as much as I can down to the main stem. And then I bring them in the house and I set them to the side and I let them almost dry completely out. And then I set it up. I actually have a video out there on how to overwinter your pepper plants. And so in my video, I talk through that whole process. I show how I cut them back, clean them up, fertilize them, put them together. Now, one of the things I found with the peppers that I'm overwintering, I did three, I did 4 tiers of peppers last year, and the light in my grow tent couldn't get to that fourth tier way down low. And I didn't have enough lights to come in at the side. So I lost almost everything in that fourth tier. So make sure you have good lighting, not just up above, but on the sides as well, if you're going to bring those in. From a tomato plant standpoint, I I think I brought in some micro dwarf tomatoes, the ones that stay about a foot tall or smaller, because I planted them late in the season because I wanted to bring them in. But y'all, they come in fast. So I've already started young seedlings for that this year. So the only thing I'm going to be bringing in from the outside is just the pepper plants. Everything else, I'm starting from seed right now so that I can transplant them into my green stalk when it's time.
Okay, we have a question from Corey Pay. What is your preferred way to grow potatoes?
17-inch metal raised beds. 17-inch metal raised bed has given me 2 years in a row the best potato harvest I've ever seen. Um, and y'all, I don't fertilize. I put the fertilizer in the beginning, and that's it. But you got to have even watering. I've tried growing potatoes in ground a long, long time ago, before I had the raised beds or the metal raised beds. They did horrible. And then I grew in plastic pots and grow bags, and now the metal raised beds. And 2 seasons in a row now, the 17-inch metal raised bed did best. I did grow potatoes in my 11-inch metal raised bed, and I got a lot of potatoes, but they were much smaller.
And just would like to welcome Heather. She's just become a member.
Oh, hi. Hi, Heather. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let's see. We have another question here from Nancy. Do you find the taller the bed, the fewer critters you get? I also want to know this one.
um, I'm going to have to say yes. Um, so if for those who've been kind of following me here, I've been struggling a little bit this year with some pests that I haven't cared, I've never had to deal with before. Have raccoons come through my garden before? Absolutely. They usually take a tomato and they go on their way and they're happy. This year they took every ear of corn I had. They had a little feast. They were having a cookout or something, but they took every ear of corn I had, and I had 43 ears of corn ready to be harvested, and they shucked it. But that was in one of my wooden raised beds. And then I can't remember if this was before or after. Then I had 4 skunk come into my garden, and they didn't mess with anything. They only ate like the worms and the bugs and stuff in the soil. But since I've removed that bed and I've put a 17-inch metal raised bed in that area where they were, nothing's bothered it. I think last year I had an issue with rabbits, but the rabbits didn't mess with any of my metal raised beds. So I believe the metal raised bed is helping with some of the pests. But for others, like deer, it's just getting it to the right height for them. But usually the deer don't mess too much with my beds. For those who follow me and they know about the skunks in my garden, y'all, I just released a video a couple of days ago. The skunk are living, they're living behind that bed. I almost ran into them. So I heard something moving behind me while I was working in the bed. I did it on the video. I was ready to run. Y'all, the skunks are living under my building. I need help. We got to get rid of the skunks.
All right, let's also welcome in Unique's Garden has also become a member.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. Yeah. Are there more questions or can I
There are quite a few.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm trying to get to the questions, but yeah, I love to talk to you. I really, really love talking to you. And should I do more of these live events? Put a heart if it's a yes and you want me to do more of these. And that way I don't have to try to answer them all today. We can keep them coming. We can keep a running list. Okay.
Well, let's see some hearts and some thumbs up.
All right. So give me the next question. I'll try to answer a few more.
Okay. Let's see. We have one here, F&D's Perfect Gardeners. What's the most difficult thing you have grown so far? Also, how do you stay motivated in the fall season?
Okay. The most difficult thing that I've grown so far, I'm going to have to say, is melons. I mean, I've in all of the years I've tried to grow melons, and so when I say melons, I'm talking cantaloupes, I'm talking watermelon, I'm talking honeydew. And even though I had a fantastic year this year, and I apologize for all the people I scared with my short, I didn't mean to scare anybody, but it's a sad day when you run out of fresh fruit in the garden. But this was the best year I've ever had. But I've been trying to grow melons for years. So until I can repeat it next year, I still have to say melons is the hardest thing I've ever grown. And I'm still struggling with the watermelon. I get one or two here or there, but I'm not good at it. And then what was the second part of that question? Uh oh. Did I lose my daughter?
Nope, I'm sorry, I'm here. Kind of read through here. We got a lot of questions today.
Okay.
Let me see. It was what was the most difficult thing? Also, how do you stay motivated in the fall season?
So garden is like therapy to me, folks. It's therapy. If I'm having a rough day, just let me go to the garden. So that's how I think about the garden in the fall season. Now I don't care about the weeds in the fall season. The weeds are the weeds. The dead plants are the dead plants. But just letting me be out there with nature and reminding me of what's most important. And usually it's not what happened 9 to 5 that's most important, if you know what I mean, right? Um, Being in the garden kind of grounds me, if that makes sense. Usually I'm tired of green beans and okra and tomatoes and a few other things by the fall season. And I let some of them kind of get away from me. But to keep me motivated, instead of just thinking about, oh, I got one more thing to can, and I start thinking about it more like, oh, that's one more thing I can give away because I've been truly blessed to have the garden that I have in the community that I have to the point where I want to be able to give it away and help others because there's only what 4 people in my household and 2 of them are young and they don't eat very much, but I love to grow food. So I'm giving more food away than I'm keeping these days. But that's my therapy. And I really, truly do mean gardening is therapy for me. My therapy bill would probably be pretty high if I didn't garden. But I try not to let, you know, the dying plants or the wilted plants, the squash bugs, the squirrels, the chipmunks, the deer, the skunk, the raccoon, the rabbits. I try not to let that get me down. It's just part of nature. And instead of looking at what's dead, look at the things that are growing. That's the way I think about it.
All right, let's see. I'm going to try to put together two questions here.
Okay.
Let's see. The first one is they said, "Hey neighbor, they're near Dayton Airport, and what are you going to do with the frost tonight?" They still have 15 pepper plants, 4 tomato plants, 8 squash plants.
There's
And then there's another one from Michelle. Do you have to have grow lights when you overwinter your pepper plants?
that's the easy one. Yes, if you're going to overwinter, they're going to need some form of light. Well, let me. If you're overwintering to enjoy, if you're just trying to overwinter to make sure that it survives to the next year, you probably don't have to do as much as I do. But when I say I'm overwintering, I'm eating peppers off of those plants in the wintertime. So I treat them indoors the same way I would outdoors. I water, I fertilize, and I have grow lights on them. If you are just trying to just keep them alive to go back out, I wouldn't worry about too much direct light right on them, but they will still need some light, right? They're going to need some. But now we got to get back here to this the frost tonight. Y'all, I guess y'all can see the background. I'm not at home. I I need to. Somebody say I need to go put some frost covers out. It's getting cold. I need to go talk to my neighbor right quick and make sure that my plants are going to be okay. All right. If it's a light frost, I still wouldn't worry about it too much, folks. If it's a heavy frost, then I would get concerned. And if it's a light frost and it's only one day of frost, I wouldn't worry. If it's a light frost and it looks like you're going to get it every day for a week, then I might cover. All right. Now, I was thinking I was going to go for 30 minutes. I am over a few minutes, but I will stay on. We'll do 45 minutes. Are you okay, Taylor? Can you keep going for me?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
All right. What is this about groundhogs? Wait a minute. Hold on.
So Nancy had mentioned that there is a stubborn groundhog that breaks into my garden, and would it be bad to inject a small watermelon with vodka for him? But I was thinking of our funny groundhog story that we have there, and you can tell it or I can tell it. It's quite up to you.
You're going to have to tell it. Y'all don't listen to my daughter. She's not telling the truth, but I'm going to put her close so y'all can hear her very well.
So I was visiting my mom. I'd already moved down to Georgia by this point. I believe so, or not quite, but I moved out. But I was visiting. She said that she had a groundhog that's been tearing up all of her different plants. I was like, okay, we'll see if we can scare him out from underneath the shed. We get there, we grab this big old stick to try to bang on the side of the shed to get it to come out and to try to scare it away. My mom had the stick, is the main part. Let's make sure we remember that part. My mom has the stick. We go outside, and all of this is caught on her Ring camera, so I have my proof. She takes the stick, she swings it to the side of the shed, the groundhog comes out, and she takes the stick, she runs, turns around backwards, she kind of sweeps my leg with it. She jumps over a Home Depot bucket and runs inside the house while I'm left outside to fend for myself after this groundhog. So when I say these groundhogs are serious, it's quite life-threatening out there for these groundhogs.
Now, I was practicing my parkour. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. She just needs to move faster. But there were a few years ago that the groundhog was out there, and she's right. It was wreaking havoc in my garden. And here's the thing, y'all. They weren't like eating. They were just climbing around trying to get to blooms and flowers. And so I think somebody told me they like clovers and flowers and that kind of stuff. But you know, it's not like they were trying to damage the plant. They were just trying to get to the flowers, and I was trying to get rid of it. And I had set up all kinds of traps to catch it, and it would go in the trap and get the food out the trap, and then just leave it there. So I never did catch this groundhog, by the way. It went over to my neighbors. They had more clovers than I did, and he never came back. He still lives over there, and that was like 3 or 4 years ago. I don't know if y'all can tell, but y'all, we like to have fun. We crack jokes all the time. We're always, we want to be comedians in our spare time. I see some questions in here about those sweet potatoes.
Yes.
I plan on harvesting those sweet potatoes sometime in the next couple of weeks. I am over 120 days in, but with my travel schedule and everything else I've had going on, I just couldn't get to them. I probably should have done them last weekend. So the way I grow my sweet potatoes, I like them to be in the ground for 120 days. Anything over that, if you have like Beauregard, you're going to get these huge, massive lonkers. And I don't want a potato like that. I want one that's the perfect size to bake or make a pie or yams or something like that. So 120 days is plenty of time. Depending on where you live, your plants may never die out. You may not have frost to take you out. So as long as you got 120 growing days in there, that should be a good standard size sweet potato for you. And y'all, I need to harvest the rest of those white potatoes as well. Those plants died back when I was home last. They were dying back, and so we'll see if we got some more regular white potatoes as well. That's right. You got to be faster than the other person. Yeah, somebody got to tell these young people. Yeah, we like to have fun. We do. We really, really do. All right.
So we're
So,
coming up on 70 viewers right now.
oh, okay, good, good. And this was a last minute thing. So while we have everybody on here at 70 viewers, so should I do what, once a month, once every couple of weeks? I know I have people from all over the world on my channel too, so trying to find the right time for everybody is going to be very difficult.
I think they're trying to come up with something here, but Nancy was also asking the same thing. Since this was such a success, how often are we going to do this?
Yeah, we need to do this, right? Let's put this on some kind of schedule. At least once a month, I see somebody saying there. Oh, someone's asking about my mom. So my mom is actually here with me right now, but she's resting. She's resting. I pampered her today. So I took her to the spa and she got massages and facials and she was pampered to she just melting in a bed right now because she's so relaxed. And I said she could be on the next one. Hi, Nisi. Glad you could make it. I will let mom know that you guys asked about her. Oh, somebody's saying as often as possible. Okay. Um, okay, and keep this format. Okay, y'all, thank you. Give me feedback. Tell me how to do this. um, yeah, I don't even begin to say I know it all. I just try and I make a mistake and then I try something else, right? But I want this to be for you. A lot of times questions come in and I can't get to all of them. I try to answer all of them. And so I will say the same thing here that I always say, online and in my videos. If there's something you need a quick answer to, send me an email. That's the fastest way to get me. But sometimes I can't get to all of the comments in the chats. But I believe I can do this at a minimum once a month. Every 2 weeks, I'm sorry. Every 2 weeks, I'm sorry. I see it coming in. My folks are telling me that I need to do it as often as possible. All right. Okay. So, so I believe, and I'm not expert at this, y'all, but I believe this live view will be uploaded, right? It's going to be on my YouTube channel. I think that's how that goes, right? And so, for those who missed it and you're coming in at the end, just thank you. I really do. Thank you, thank you, thank you, y'all, for everything that you do. When I started this channel just under 3 years ago, it hasn't been 3 years yet. I just had some friends say, "Hey, Kim, you need to do a channel. You're really out here. You're doing something." And from my understanding and what I've seen, gardening is becoming a lost, not trait, but skill. Right? There are a lot of young folks that don't even know what a tomato plant looks like. And so, if there's something I can do to give back, I'm trying my best to do so. So thank you, everybody, again. I will put it out at least a week in advance next time. My goal will be to do it every 2 weeks, but it's always going to depend on my travel schedule. And y'all know I travel a lot for work. And I have a lot of traveling to do between now and the end of the year. And my daughter's getting married. She's getting married in just a few weeks. And so we'll be traveling for that as well. So we have a lot going on, but I think I can do this because I can do a live video anywhere, even when I can't record a video. You can still get some information from me. So I will set up the next one for 2 weeks out. And from the time standpoint, I think I'm going to need to push it back 30 minutes so I can help the folks that's out west, so they can get on here and be able to ask questions as well. Guys, I couldn't do this without you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and sign off and immediately go ahead and put on here when the next live viewing will be. I'll also be releasing a video in the next day or so. And I got some canning videos out there that are coming. So I will talk to everyone really soon. Thank you so much. Thank you for all of those who became members today as well. And I'll be talking to you real soon. Bye.